Energy Disruptors. Please welcome our host for the next 2 days, Holly Ransom, CEO of Emergent.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Energy Disruptors Unite. Yeah, a bit of a round of applause. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here and to have the opportunity to be your program host and conference moderator. Now, before we get underway, a couple of housekeeping matters we've got to get out of the way. Firstly, thank you all so much for your patience with registration. I know there were a few teething issues. We thank you for being understanding. The mass arrivals at one time will make sure we accommodate and get everyone caught up with their badges during the breaks. Also, should there be any situation of emergency, any alarms today, we've got emergency exits to the left and 2 on the right-hand side. The mustering point is the fountain outside. And if you hear an alarm, we just encourage you to wait for further instructions and we'll provide more detail as to what to do then. Now, if you need any information over the course of the program, I encourage you to get on board if you haven't already downloaded the conference app. It'll have all the details as to different rooms, timings, etc. If you have any issues with that, please see one of our wonderful volunteers. We've got more than 100 of them running around wearing lanyards that can help you out at any point during the program. Finally, at any stage, visit the Collision Hub. That's the back of the room. You can get a bite to eat, a drink. There's wonderful sponsor activations, some really cool displays. I encourage you to get out there and check that out over the course of the next 2 days. And now, to formally welcome us to Energy Disruptors Unite, representing the City of Calgary, His Worship, Naheed Nenshi.
Hello, I'm Mayor Naheed Nenshi, and I want to welcome everyone to Calgary and to Energy Disruptors Unite. Welcome to this place. We're standing here together on the banks of the Elbow River, in a place where people have always been. Since time immemorial, people have been coming to the banks of this river, to this place that the Blackfoot call Mokinstis, the Elbow, the place where 2 rivers meet. Drawn by the water and by the land, they've been coming here to hunt and fish and trade, to live, to love, to have great victories, to taste bitter disappointment, but above all, to engage in that very human act of building community. So as we think about our future, as we think about disruption and change, we do so in the names of the original inhabitants of this land, the Niitsitapi. It just means the people. We call them the Blackfoot people now. In the name of the Beaver people, whom we call the Tsuut'ina people, of the Stoney people, of the Nakota nations, of the Métis people with their long history on this land. And we remember that for 150 years or so, despite our mistakes and our backsliding, we have tried in this place to be a beacon of light and hope in an often cold and dark and cruel world. That we have welcomed people from every corner of this broken earth. And we've said, come here. You are welcome here. Your family will be safe here. Your grandchildren and their grandchildren will have extraordinary opportunity here. And it's that opportunity that we've all come together to talk about today. In a world that is changing, but in a place where everyone needs clean, safe energy, we can be leaders. Together in this room, we have the power to tie together the economy and the environment. We have the power to ensure that energy and the economic development and the lifting of people from poverty that comes with it is available to all. And that's really what we're here to do today. We're here to talk about technology, about innovation, about energy, even about poverty, all of that together in a way that we can help change the world. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for changing the world. Enjoy your time in Calgary.
Thank you very much to His Worship for that welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a momentous day we have. 1,500 people gathered from right across Canada, in fact, right around the world, here in Calgary, for a conversation that's going to shape, if not redefine, the future of energy. We are thrilled to be here, and in many ways we can't believe that when we started this conversation 18 months ago, that it would only get more and more topical with every passing day. Right now, the energy file is so emotive, and I actually think it's really important we acknowledge the emotions and the different views in the room today, because they give really important context to the complexity of the conversations that we're going to be having over the course of the next 2 days. Some of you will be coming to this conversation a little frustrated. Some of you a little bit worried, perhaps. Many of you optimistic. And I think a lot of you with the want to break new ground when it comes to action and collaboration and to break free from the same old dialogue that we've been hearing on some of these topics. There's a dual challenge that sits beneath the conversations we're going to have. We know that with a rising global population and an increasing middle class, the world's demand for energy has never been greater than it is at this moment. And we also know that we have a challenge of dealing with the footprint and the emissions of our growing energy footprint. One of the challenges for Canada, indeed the world, is having to create an exciting and compelling energy future that's different to business as usual. We know that the way that we've always done things is no longer economically or socially acceptable. But that's not to mean that we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We come and we're having this conversation in an incredibly energy-rich part of the world. Why can't we be at the forefront of innovating with hydrocarbons at the same time as pioneering new technologies, collaborations, and ways of working? We know there's no silver bullet, and there's a lot of entrenched positions scattered right across the landscape and the conversation. But ultimately, we know that we'll have no hope of tackling the enormity of the challenge before us if we can't find ways to collaborate and move the conversation and action forward. Critically, for the first time here at Energy Disruptors, we have the entirety of the energy value chain present in our conversations. They're going to be here in the same room in dialogue with one another. From CEOs of leading energy companies to innovators and entrepreneurs pioneering new technologies to policymakers and even Formula One champions. They're all going to be here in conversation with one another and answering your questions. We've also got some of the world's preeminent thought leaders when it comes to capitalising on disruption, so that each and every one of us can leave the next 2 days empowered with new insights and advice on how it is that we can seize disruption to add value to our own lives, our work, and our communities. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, and I'm going to take a little bit of poetic license here with the words of Stephen Covey, is to try and listen with the intent to understand, not just the intent to reply. I think it's really important that over the next 48 hours we acknowledge we're all going to hear some things we might disagree with and we might not like. What I want to encourage you to do is to try and listen with an open mind. And in fact, I'd like to encourage you to seek out difference, to find people over the course of the breaks, the incredible networking opportunities we're going to have over the next 2 days, and have a conversation with someone who comes from a different part of the world, a different part of the country, a different part of the energy value chain, and see what fruit you can find in that conversation. We want you to contribute to our collective conversation as well. We're going to have social media running throughout. The hashtag is EDU2018. I'd love you to get tweeting on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and at every point when we've got an individual speaker on stage today, I'm going to open up the opportunity for you to ask questions from the floor. So you can submit your questions using that hashtag EDU2018, and we'll be asking them of all of our feature speakers on the program. So I really encourage you to get involved, and let's get this conversation trending right around the world so people can be knowing what's happening in Canada and the leading cutting-edge conversations that are coming from right here.